Welcome to episode number 104 of the Beyond Social Media Show, the podcast for marketing, advertising, public relations, and communications professionals. We are recording live on Google Hangouts on air on July 18, 2015. Let's start off with the worst stories. BL, you always have the honors. What were the worst stories of last week?
Well, you know, we both came up with the same worst story, and that was Amazon Prime Day, and bashing it was fabulous fun, because it had a hashtag Prime Day fail and people were making fun of it. But Amazon reported that their sales were up 80% and that they're going to do it again next year. So, who knows? I mean, I think they're lying, but my favorite product of the week, and this came to me in an email from Joan Stewart, the publicity hound, was they had a 50-pound drum of Passion Lube, big blue drum, comes with a hose, and the product description was my favorite. It said, "What are you going to do with all this lube? Wrestling match, biggest adult party ever? If you're looking for a simply jaw-dropping amount of lube, Passion natural water-based lubricant is ready to get the fun started with this 55-gallon drum. With its superb formula, you'll have a natural feel that keeps you moist longer and also works great with all toy materials. Easily washes away with warm water and mild soap. You may never run out of lube again, that's for sure." Size 55 gallons, note, includes pump. And the big bargain was it's normally $2,500 for this amount of lube, but it was on sale for $1,368. And you do have to wonder, how many of those did they sell?
That is not a product I was in the market for, and I was actually ready to buy on Prime Day. I was all excited about they hyped it up quite a bit. They talked about bigger than Black Friday, so there's going to be plenty of deals to be had. And then checked out throughout the day, and there weren't plenty of deals to be had. I think it's a classic case of over promising and under delivering.
Oh my God, was it? Yeah.
They have all kinds of information about what I'm interested in, from the things that I've purchased before, from my browsing behavior on the site. They have a bunch of data, so they could be showing things to me that would be of interest to me and that I would want to buy that's on sale. But I didn't see that. I saw a bunch of stuff that I didn't want to buy and wasn't on sale. I was ready to spend a lot of money. I wanted to buy a bike and get a discount on a bicycle, but there wasn't any of that to be had. Even clothes that I would stock up on, there wasn't really that there.
Yes, they had granny panties. They had lots of granny panties on sale.
Again, another product I'm not in the market for. So I think the very least that they could have done is on the homepage have something of huge value on sale throughout the day, whatever it is, to just show that, yeah, there are big deals to be had, but I didn't see them.
And I got a couple of emails about things that I was looking at, and it said, I was looking at this pair of sandals, and I'm waiting for them to go on sale, and they're $139, and it said $77 to $139. So, of course, I go look, because I think I'm going to get them for $77, and guess what? They're $139. And then there was a beard grower kit, and there was a lip plumper kit. That was, I'm sure, a popular item, and a lot of Adam Sandler videos. I'm sure a lot of people really wanted those. So, but they claimed that they made gazillions of dollars and sales were up 80% over the same day last year, and that they're going to bring it back on an annual basis. So, what do we know? Maybe we missed the actual goings on.
Well, they'll have plenty of time to improve then.
Well, they certainly will. So speaking of things not well done, on CNN, a reporter, this is really a mess. CNN this is not this week, this was actually during Gay Pride Week, but during the Gay Pride Parade in London, CNN broke into its broadcast to report that there was an ISIS flag spotted in the crowd, and they said that they brought in a respected terrorism expert, find out why is ISIS marching in UK's highest profile gay event. And unfortunately it turned out, and Lucy Paul was the CNN reporter reporter who was going on about this, it turned out that the flag was a parody, and what it had on it was outlined images of sex toys in place of Arabic scripts. It was a parody of the flag. Now, I don't think that's very funny, and I think a lot of people would agree that it's a little bit dangerous, but they went on in great depth, and we zooming in on the man waving it, and he said, I don't understand why they're so interested in my sex toy flag. And, you know, John Oliver and a lot of people made fun of them, and they removed it, but of course what goes online stays online. And even though they removed it, they didn't apologize. And John Oliver said, probably because it would be too embarrassing to have a professional journalist say, I'm sorry, despite working for CNN, it seems I don't know what a dildo looks like.
Yeah, I saw that story on John Oliver. There's two explanations really for this. It's there's a, and none of them are good, but you don't have editors anymore, and so therefore there's nobody vetting the story, and it gets on air, and the reporters don't really know what they're talking about because nobody's really taken a critical eye to it and said, yeah, no, that's a parody flag, or they know exactly what they're doing, and they're just trying to, you know, get viewers, and by doing something that's allegedly controversial, but isn't really. So, well, you know, either way, it's a bad idea.
They talked about the Indonesian plane that went down mysteriously for about 6 months, pretty much nonstop on CNN. So, you know, they don't seem to have a lot to report on. But the point you bring up is an important one, because everybody's trying to get the news out first, and there's no time to vet whether it's true or whether it's not, except that there still are some reliable news sources. And, you know, the ones that are out there that do vet the news are not necessarily going to be the first to have it. So, you know, and that might be a matter of minutes, but minutes on the internet are like dog years. You know, that's the real issue, is that everybody's in such a big freaking hurry. But that does bring us to better news. And we have a lot of that, so that's a good thing. And one of the things, you know, I would vote for Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz for president. I really would, but he has the good sense not to run. And he at the moment is with a group of other corporations. They're launching 100,000 opportunities, and it's a plan to curb the unemployment of young people. And there are 5.6 million unemployed young people in the United States between the ages of 16 and 24. And, you know, this is not the first time that Starbucks has done something to help people get jobs. This is just the latest. Last year, Starbucks started enabling their barristers to earn a college degree at Arizona State University, where they pick up much of the bill. And recently, Schultz and his wife donated $30 million to help veterans of the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq transition into civilian life and find work. And, you know, he wants to increase economic opportunities for young people because they are hurting big time. Plus their lives are mortgaged if they did go to school. And so 16 other companies are participating in 100,000 Opportunities Initiative. And those include CVS Health, Microsoft, Taco Bell, Target, Walmart, Alaska Airlines, Hilton hotel chain. And Hilton is promising to hire 15,000 at-risk young people in the next 3 years. So, you know, thank you to all of these companies, and to Howard Schultz for starting it. I think he's the cat's pajamas. I don't like Starbucks coffee, though.
I go to Starbucks every day. I'm a big fan. Not just because of their coffee too, but the fact that the company is relentless in their innovation. They continue to try different things that other people aren't doing, even if it doesn't work, and that doesn't scare them away from it. So they had the Race Together thing that we talked about when that launched, and that sort of fizzled out. But
yeah, that was a bad idea. You know, it didn't work. Okay, next, and they're on to the next. That's the cool thing about them.
Yeah.
You know, you don't see a lot of companies like that. You just don't. And I don't know if it's fear, it's expense, it's what it is, but you know, this is what corporations need to be doing. And
well,
you know,
part of it too, short is what's the immediate return from doing the thing that we're going to be doing? And there are very few companies that look at the long-term game of what's going to what the return on investment is going to be over the long haul. by doing something. And that's what Starbucks, I think, is doing.
But yet study after study shows that, millennials and all the younger generations want to interact with and buy from companies that are socially responsible. So companies that are not looking at the longer view, because after all, young people are the future, are missing out big time. And, tell us one of yours, Dave.
Well, this is sort of a long-term trend that I'm seeing. Facebook is got a project in the works for a digital assistant through Messenger, through their Messenger app. This is from Business Insider story by Matt Weinberger. And so, I mean, IBM has named their analytics, their big data solution, Watson. They gave it a name. Apple has Siri. Microsoft has Cortana, and now Facebook has Moneypenny. So they're giving a name to this virtual assistant, that's digital assistant, and they're calling it Moneypenny. Moneypenny is the code name for a messenger shopping assistant. It's named after the M's secretary in the James Bond books, Miss Moneypenny, and it's an interesting trend in sort of companies trying to humanize their technology, whether it's an algorithm or a digital assistant. They're giving it a name, they're giving it a personality, and in this era of big data and data security and privacy, it's an attempt to personalize the technology itself to make it less scary, I think.
I don't know, it's a little bit Ray Bradbury, having these bot things talk to you. And I still am finding, like on the iPhone 6, that on occasion Siri just starts talking in the middle of the night. I don't know who she's having a conversation with. I found something about that on the internet, BL, and I was sleeping. Maybe I talk in my sleep and it wakes up Siri, who knows? But I find it a little bit like Hal.
Well, I mean, that's part of the problem, is the popularization or the discussion in the popular press about technology 9 times out of 10 takes the science fiction angle of the horrible things that can happen with technology. Technology, whatever the technology it is, always has a good and a bad side, and it depends on how we use it.
Well, we have had some really extraordinary things come about that make life easier, that's for sure. So, having Siri not be able to find something sometimes, or I don't know, working overtime, whatever the hell she's doing, I can live with that. So in the area of raising money for charity, Mark Cuban, who I certainly don't always agree with, he is raising money for a charity in, and I got this through, it's called Chidio, which is Prizio's sister station that's devoted to nonprofit news. And Cuban is looking for donations to the Austin Street Center, which is a therapeutic homeless community. And it's a crowdsourced campaign, and it has a whole lot of rewards. But what he's done, which is really funny, is he's used humor. He's done a spoof of Shark Tank called Mark Tank, and all the judges are him. And, it's funny. And this is a trend that I see and that I like a lot, and that is that nonprofits are using humor, and they're telling stories that are not necessarily the worst in the world, but the ones about the things that came about as a result of, which is what you want to know. You want to know when you make a contribution that it helped somebody. So they're telling you the stories of how people were helped, and they're, trying to, rather than just make you feel like you're the worst person in the world because you haven't already sent all your money to them, they're trying to have a bit of a human sense of humor. I like that, but to see him, it's really very funny. Worth a look.
Well, speaking of new ways of telling stories, this touched my heart when I first saw it. Berkeley Breathitt is reviving Bloom County. Of course, he is the cartoonist who created Opus and the Bloom County comic strip that was popular in the 80s and 90s, and this is from an NPR story by Bill Chappell. So he posted on his Facebook page the first panel of the revived Bloom County. It features Opus waking up from a long slumber, and it's like, oh boy, that was some nap. How long was I out? 25 years. What? No way. So he starts out his revived comic strip with that and goes on. The comic strip, the first one, got 102,000 likes, 63,000 shares on Facebook. Another panel, subsequent panel, had Opus using Google, typing in a word, and he was typing in a word that makes him happy, that's suds, then type in another word that makes you happy, nuns, and as a result, spikes for searches for suds, nuns went through the roof. You can see that on Google Trends. It's unclear whether Breathitt is going to syndicate his new work in newspapers. This is from the article. He recently recalled how an editorial dispute with a publisher had a direct role in his decision to quit cartooning in 2008. His Facebook posting says his Facebook postings are nicely out of reach of nervous newspaper editors, the PC humor police now rampant across the web, and ISIS. So he's apparently just going to use his Facebook page to publish his new Bloom County, and it's a thing that he can control. He can control who he can block people from his Facebook page if he doesn't like the way they react or whatever. It's fascinating. Now all we need, though, is a return of the Far Side, Calvin and Hobbes, and we'll have the golden age of comics back. That'd be great.
Yeah, there's a few others we need back for the golden age of comics too, and Archie and Veronica were on Twitter, and Archie was asking for romantic advice this past week. So social media and comics are a great match. One of the things that happened this week, and this is a story from The Verge, and the report, I have this in good news because it's about time, is the death of Flash is coming. And Mozilla blocked Flash, and Facebook's security chief called for its death. And, there are countless pop-ups telling you your Adobe Flash is out of date, and it comes up and it won't go away. I had that happen this week, and you do not want to download Flash from one of those pop-ups because they are malware. So Facebook's new chief security officer wants to set a date to kill it once and for all. Firefox's new browser blocks it because it's riddled with security issues. And Mark Schmidt, who's the head of Firefox support team, he said all versions of Flash Player are blocked in the browser. Accompanying the news was an image with a raised fist and the phrase "Occupy Flash." It's got to go. There are still websites with Flash. I don't need to look at them. Who does?
I have been waiting for the death of Flash for years.
Right, we all. Right.
I can't die soon enough. I cannot stand that technology. But hopefully this is the final nail in the coffin. But I won't hold my breath although I use both Chrome and Firefox daily, have both of them open at the same time, and I am constantly seeing blocked content because Firefox is prohibiting Flash. So it might be a wake-up call for a lot of people.
That and the need to go mobile. So tell us about the music news. I love this news. Yeah,
I've got actually a couple of music news. So Wilco, the band Wilco, is giving away their new album. This is from Yahoo Digest story. You can download their new album for free. The album is called Star Wars and has nothing to do with the movie. It's called Star Wars, has a blinking cat as the cover album art. So you can download it for free for a limited time from their website, from Google Play, and from iTunes. Their website is wilcoworld.net. Frontman Jeff Tweedy said, why release an album this way and why make it free? Well, the biggest reason, and I'm not sure we even need any others, is that it felt like it would be fun. What's more fun than a surprise? Well, that's entirely true, but another reason to release a free album is to build your email list, which is how you have to get what you have to do to get the album. So you have to subscribe to their newsletter, to their email list to get your free download. It's a great idea. It's one that only a band like Wilco, that has the stature of Wilco and has the album sales of Wilco, can afford to do, or a new band that's trying to get publicity for themselves, but it's not for everyone. But still, good tactic.
That's a great tactic. And speaking of music, I want to just say that I learned this week that the great blues player Taj Mahal, who's a dear and old friend of mine, has been off the road for 4 months because, as he says, 50 years of touring finally caught up with him. And he's coming back in August. So glad to hear you're doing great, Taj. Okay, so more news.
It's wonderful.
It is wonderful. It really is. Oh, you have more music news. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. So this is a project that we work on every year. The Basilica Block Party is a local event that is a fundraiser to maintain the Basilica of St. Mary building in Minneapolis. It's in this year was their 21st year. They draw a lot of big names every year. So it's a sort of a tradition in the Twin Cities. And this year we had headliners. Weezer, Wilco actually was played as well, OAR, and Rachel Platten. So Rachel Platten is a new, if you haven't heard of Rachel Platten, she's a new up-and-coming star. She's kind of a Taylor Swifty pop star. And she has a popular song out now called Fight Song, which is going up the charts. She performed, and then after the concert took her time out to meet with a 6-year-old girl named Alexa who is battling cancer. And Alexa has adopted her Fight Song as her anthem, Rachel Platten's Fight Song as her anthem. And so after the concert, she got to go backstage. She got front row seats to see the concert, then got to go backstage to meet her musical hero with Platten. And Platten sang the Fight Song with Alexa, so they had a duo together. We had a small part in arranging that, and it's just a very touching story, and glad to talk about it.
Oh, I love that story, Dave. That's a great story. Taylor Swift has done things like that, you know, but you're shaming me here. I don't know who these musicians are. I'm going to have to look on iTunes this week and listen to some new music because I'm apparently way behind, although I do like New Direction. I know who they are. They're adorable. So that I think that brings us to shiny new stuff, right?
It does. What do you got?
Well, I tested something. I had a demo this week of something called Reads, R-E-A-D-Z. It's a new platform. It just launched on Thursday, and the company's been in stealth mode with some very big clients. And what I found so interesting about them is they're backed by $7 million in startup funding, and some of their customers include Deloitte, Microsoft, Hilton Grand Vacations, and IBM. So basically what it does is it's a drag and drop platform that lets customers white label and use custom URLs to create responsive, interactive web content, and then push that content to mobile devices. And you can make microsites, landing pages, interactive publications, magazines, white papers, brochures. It was pretty impressively easy to use. And it doesn't just shrink the content to fit on a small screen the way most responsive software does. It dynamically formats the content for mobile devices. So 5, and I have an iPhone 6, it'll be sized to your 5 and to my 6. And it integrates with Google Analytics, MailChimp, and you can put in slides, and they claim that their early customers have seen a minimum of 8 times improvement in readership and conversions. It's sold like a lot of software, pricing per license starting at $90 a month for one user, and then they go up to enterprise rates. So I think it's really worth a look. We'll have the link in the notes.
Wow, sounds cool. That's really good.
Yeah. And the other thing I found also that I thought was quite interesting was 6 apps for watermarking your photos online and your videos. Because as anybody who puts original work online of any sort knows, people like to use it without attribution. So they can't do that if it's watermarked.
I've got a photo-related app that people find useful. Unfortunately, it's only an iOS device, so it's software for iOS. It's free. It's called Name Changer, and anybody who takes a lot of photos or even video will understand this problem. Those files that you record, either photos or video, are usually named by, like for photos, img_ followed by a number .jpeg. which tells you nothing about the photo,
Nothing.
right?
Right.
And so you need to go through, in order to organize your photos, if you take a lot of them, you need to go through and upload them to your computer and then rename everyone so that you understand exactly what you've got on your computer. So this is a batch file name changing app. It's software. You just download it and install it and import your photos, and you can, if you got a set of photos, you can rename the files based on, I mean, the things that you do is topic, place, people, time. So it's just a very nice tool to do that, and saves you a lot of time.
I want that. I also came across a Twitter analytics tool called Social Bearing that lets you find, filter, sort tweets or people by location, sentiment, media, engagement, influence, and a lot more. And they've got a free platform. I've been playing with it this week. It's been actually quite helpful. My beef with a lot of these is that when you click through to one of the stories, you then have to go back and reload the link for the platform. Like, what? Instead of it opening it in a separate window. But this one doesn't do that. This opens a separate window.
Cool. I've got a quick one. It's a resource more than a shiny new object, but it's Quartz Charts. So the publication quartzqz.com is a publication focused on executives that I read a lot and subscribe to their newsletter. Has a lot of good content for it. I just discovered that they have the charts that they use for their stories all separated into a chart channel. It's at atlas.qz.com. And so all of the charts that they use for their stories are located there. Examples include global active buyers on eBay year over year. That's kind of stats that I like, right? Google's headcount 2005-2015. You can download the images. You can download the data set that they use, or you can embed the chart. So it has a lot of options for sharing that or playing around with the data itself. So it's pretty cool stuff.
Oh, that's a great find for your daily numbers, Dave. That's
exactly.
Cool. Yeah. I get Quartz, and I also started getting Skim this week, the newsletter Skim. And what is the other one I get? Sway, Swayy. Each of which is really good at compiling stories. And, it just saves a lot of time, and they come up with some pretty interesting stuff. So I recommend all of those. So does that bring us to projects? I think it does.
It does indeed. Yep.
So I had a story in Ad Age this week, and it's based on all the recent hashtag debacles. And so the story is 7 steps for handling Twitter hashtag screw-ups. The first step ought to be don't use them, but think about the consequences is step 1. And the fact that nobody sees these coming, I mean, this blows my mind. What do you think is going to happen when Bobby Jindal says ask Bobby, or when Chris Christie puts up a telling it like it is hashtag? What did you think would happen? Did you think people would not talk about when you closed the bridge and screwed up traffic? I mean, did you think about when you ignored the New Jersey teams and went with somebody else's team? And of course, that's what everybody talked about. So what are you thinking? What are you thinking? So that's what this post is about. And it got shared a whole bunch of times, which was nice. And,
I actually heard several of your examples being discussed on a couple of podcasts that I listened to. So I think it's made its way into the podcast-osphere as well. So
happy to hear that.
Yeah. I've got a post that I wrote for our agency blog today called 4 Tips for Naming a Brand in the Internet Age. So there's a lot of content out there about how to name a brand, brainstorming for your brand name and all that, but not a lot of attention paid to how that name may play out online. So this is 4 tips of like how you check your domain name, see if their domain name's available for your new spanking new brand name. So we'll put a link in the show notes for that.
So you don't have things happen like you are running for president and you don't own your name.
Exactly.
Things like
those
that.
Kind of things. Yep.
Or you have a product that the link leads to a porn site. Gee whiz, nobody noticed that before?
Maybe somebody should have checked. Yep.
Yeah. Like, how is it that nobody did? I don't get it. Sometimes I wish I was a fly on the wall in a meeting, because I think that's how you would find out how this stuff happens, because it's inexplicable to me.
Yeah,
So that brings us, speaking of numbers, Dave, that brings us to the daily numbers.
Yeah. So Pew Research, Pew creates a lot of, one of my go-to sources for research. They do a lot of great research, and recently came out with Facebook and Twitter as news sources. So Facebook and Twitter as news is on the rise. The percent of users who get their news there, 63% of Twitter users and 63% of Facebook users get news from those channels. That's up for Twitter. Twitter was 52% in 2013, and now it's up to 63%. And Facebook was 47% in 2013. It's now up to 63%. That has, in part, it's due to the way that people actually do share news on Twitter and Facebook, but also their deliberate moves, those networks' deliberate moves to enhance the news discovery aspects of their social networks. Twitter is a place where people go to for breaking news more than Facebook. So 59% of Twitter users go to Twitter for breaking news, as opposed to 31% of Facebook users who use that channel for those breaking news. So again, social media has always played an important role in news discovery, but it is playing a greater role now. That the social networks and YouTube, again, we've talked about this in past episodes, they're all deliberately going out to make those news discovery channels as well.
Well, and that's the recent things that we discussed on the show about YouTube's new news credibility channel. I've forgotten the name of it.
Yep.
And
News Lab.
News Lab, and resources for journalists, and in which they vet the citizen reports on live action to make sure that they're viable for broadcast. And this is a battle royal. This really is, because this is the advertising frontier. Where you get the eyeballs is where you get the advertising. So I just want to say that next week on the 25th of July, Ray Hiltz of Ray's Lunch Bunch is going to be our guest, and looking forward to that. And what we will do later today is we will timestamp this video and put the playlist on our blog, which is BeyondSocialMediaShow.com. And you will be able to see everything we talked about today in its original form. And so thank you for watching episode 104 of Beyond Social Media Show. And the links will be on BeyondSocialMediaShow.com/104. If you love us, let us know at BeyondSocialMediaShow.com/love. David Erickson is found online at @DErickson on Twitter, at eStrategyBlog.com, and at creativepr.com/blog. And you ought to take a look at their new newsletter. And David is a man of many, many places online. He has blogs and channels all over the place. So do look him up, follow him on Twitter. And I'm BL Lockman. I'm at What's Next on Twitter. My blog is What's Next Blog. My company is maximum-plus.com for live stream online events, and Google Plus, anything you need to know. The show, BeyondSocialMediaShow.com. On Twitter is at BSMediaShow. And we have a newsletter that you need to get, and it is BeyondSocialMediaShow.com/newsletter. It contains exclusive content and stories we don't have time to cover in 30 minutes, and some awesome things that we came upon during the week, and a moment of joy from each of us. I think you will get a kick out of it. And we are also on Stitcher, and we are on iTunes. And if you don't have time to watch, you can listen. And we will see you next week, same time, same station, with episode 105 of the Beyond Social Media Show. Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching.